think this is actually would be a cool intro. Anyways, guys, welcome to episode 3 of the Afternoon Brew. I have a special guest with us today, this morning, Angela, with the Kelsey Thompson team. Kind of a fun transition. So this is like a part 2 to our interview with Kelsey. So we had her on the show a couple weeks ago, and we got the perspective from the realtor side, building the team and all that fun stuff. I get to see real estate from the marketing side. So we do the photos, the videos, all that fun stuff you already know. I think you can share a lot of behind the scene perspective of what it actually takes, what goes on behind real estate teams. So you're her operations manager essentially, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we can talk about what goes on. And I think it's going to be really, really fascinating to kind of talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, all the fun stuff. Behind the scenes of all that. Angela, thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how long you been with Kelsey now?
Just about 3 years next month. I actually, my background is EMS. I was a paramedic for 10 years, 15 years, and I had to get out of it after COVID.
I feel like I've known that. I feel like I should have known that. Maybe I've known it.
Maybe you did.
Yeah. That's cool. Here in Springfield?
I was in Springfield, and then when I finished my career, I had been out in the hill towns running the nonprofit ambulance service out there.
Oh, wow.
So it was like an easy director of operations transition, which I would not have expected, but operations is very similar from EMS to real estate.
Nice. Well, that was going to be my leading question. How does somebody find themselves in that position, especially being, Indeed. I mean, is it Indeed? Is it, friends? Is it how does somebody get into that position?
So I knew when I was leaving EMS that I was more of an operations generalist and that I had a set of skills that I would be able to apply in a variety of fields. So I wasn't looking for a specific field. I was just looking for director of operations jobs, and Kelsey posted one. And at the time she was at Keller Williams, and they sort of have like a pretty robust hiring mechanism that she took advantage of. So I had to do like a video intro, which was way out of my comfort zone. I was like this, and at the time, like I didn't really know much about real estate. I was like, is this a multi-level marketing scheme? Like I'm not positive it's not, but whatever, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And she brought me in for an interview, and I was immediately like hooked on Kelsey.
Yeah.
Like she's just so, I don't even know what the word is. She's she draws people to her. Yep. And it was a great interview. Part of what Keller Williams did was they do like basically a personality test.
Sure.
And at your interview, you go through the personality test with your interviewer. Yeah. And there was a word that Kelsey didn't know. And she was like reading it. She's like, Angela's very gregarious. And I was like, gregarious? And she's like, yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
And it was just really, we hit it off.
Yeah.
A week later, we were like, yes, when can we get started? And it was like very energizing for both of us at the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I'm currently looking for an operations manager. Not that this kind of
what do you pay?
Yeah, right. Yeah. You looking for a job?
No.
No, seriously. It's tough. I feel like, and that's why I asked that, because I feel like it's tough to distinguish like office admin, office assistant, and then you have the ops manager, which is somebody that actually runs your whole business.
Yep.
And I want to get into this a little bit later with like teams and growing teams, but kind of a little foreshadow is that I feel like are such a prime example as to why people have to be so picky and specific with who they add onto their team.
Yes.
Because that's going to directly correlate. I mean, obviously how your business is going to be ran.
Yeah.
There's trust, and then there's operations. There's how proactive are you? There's all that fun stuff. But let's talk about the team now. Let's talk about the back end, right? And a nice little transition into there. So it's you, Kelsey. You guys just switched, and we don't have to necessarily say names, but it doesn't matter. If you want, you can.
We're very happy to be at Lock and Key Realty.
Nice. I have a presentation there, November 6th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, November 6th, November 9th. Put it in your calendar.
All right, I will.
I'll send you I already confirmed it with Jordan and Carl or Mark? Mark, yeah. Confirmed it with them, so hopefully, it works out.
They're great guys. It is great. Like you walk in there, and it's just the energy super high. Everyone's trying to do something new. Everyone is happy to help. It's a really like, you get somewhere and you just feel like the charisma of a place, and it inspires you. That's what it's like there.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I've seen it. I've kind of watched it grow from like with. I haven't paid too much attention to Lock and Key, but like I've seen when it was like, oh, Lock and Key, okay, they're kind of just doing their thing, and then like an agent moved there, and then another agent, and then another agent, and then I saw Kelsey move, and I was like, all right, I gotta let me see what's going on, And no, I reached out to them; they were really cool. I'm super excited to bring our value, what we offer, to them, to all the agents and whatnot. So I think it'll be a really cool partnership and even just chat. But anyways, yeah, back to the team. Yeah, back to Lock and Key, back to the Kelsey Thompson team.
Yeah.
So managing, yeah, I mean, what do you do on the back end a little bit of, besides everything? Don't just tell me everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
So my job is I have
Yeah.
2 distinct roles that I fill
Okay.
for the team. I'm their transaction coordinator. We have Kelsey and Anesh as active agents on the team. And then also I run operations. And operations
Ooh.
turns into whatever you need.
Yep.
So right now, my big focus for operations is marketing. We are always looking for cost-effective ways to stay top of mind. Right now, I just finished yesterday a setup of an 8-week-long postcard campaign. And does our postcard campaign match our email campaign? And what are our segments? And who are we speaking to? And are we speaking to them the appropriate amount for where they are at their stage? There's a lot of data analysis and stuff that goes into that. But in 3 months from now, my main focus will be completely different. It'll be working on our transaction management software and our CRM and, how are we making sure that everyone in our database gets touches and then following up on that and making sure it's getting done. But yeah, it's everything. Like, do we have business insurance? Is payroll going out? We have a runner on our team. His name is Dante.
Yeah.
Is he?
Cool kid.
Yeah, he's a good
Yeah,
kid.
he's a good kid.
Is he, does he have enough projects? Like, what's his schedule going to be like? What do we need him for? It's everything.
Yeah. Takes a lot of mindset, a lot of like mental strength, I guess I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like one of the things I was thinking about this morning was, Kelsey and Anesh and I and Dante, we're pretty good right now. We've gone through phases of recruitment,
Sure.
With varying degrees of success. And when Kelsey first hired me, she hired me because she wanted to grow a team. She wanted to have what, Keller Williams called a mega team.
Okay.
And that was the goal. And it took a long time for Kelsey and I to realize that idea was like, so draining. Like it wasn't energizing us anymore. And when we realized that, we were like, oh my God, we don't have to grow the team.
Yeah.
We can do something completely different.
Yeah.
And so Kelsey and I, one of the things that makes us such a good fit is we do not have overlapping skills at all. Like
Cool.
the skills
that is really cool.
the skills that she has, I do not have access to those things.
Yeah.
And the skills that I have, she doesn't have access to. And also, neither one of our skill sets is very meaningful without the other one.
They complement each other really well. Yeah.
Yeah. So we decided we don't have to recruit. We can just do what we're doing at a really high level better than anyone else.
Yeah.
And it like that was like a holy cow.
Relief.
Yes.
Relief.
Yeah. And I'm not taking it off the table for the future. Maybe it'll be the right time to bring on more agents, but the vibe between the three of us is really, really good.
No, that's important. It's a cool little segmented topic, I think, where a lot of people want to, not a lot, let me see how I can phrase this, but there's a high want with people or business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever, to grow something. You don't always have to.
Yeah.
And also, I think the biggest thing, too, is that, A, do you want to do it? Or are you doing it because everybody else is doing it?
That's the next step.
Right? It's like, oh, that's what I want to do. But then you sit down, and I just had a student online that we were talking to. We were talking about growing an agency and whatnot. And after 3, I think he was sick, or he took some time off for about 3 weeks, and he hops on a call with me, and he's like, V, you know what, man? Like, I want to thank you for being there and for helping me and whatever the case is. He's like, I think after doing like soul searching, I don't want to grow a team. He's like, I thought I wanted that, but after like looking at it, he's like, I truly don't want to do that. He's like, I just want to sell houses. Yeah. And I'm like, that is so amazing. Usually it's so hard for people to say, I quit, right? Or this isn't for me. But it's like, no, just admit to yourself, what do you want? And that kind of segments me into the next part where there's a place for everybody in the market on this totem pole. There is a place for the mega teams. There's a place for the solo agents. There's a place for the smaller, high performer teams. There's a place for the big, non-performing teams, right? There's a place for everybody. And that's cool that you guys kind of came to
Yeah.
that realization. That's really, really cool.
It's
Is that-
also a relief. Recruiting
Yeah.
is the worst part of operations
me.
always.
I know. I've been doing interviews for like 4 weeks now, and it is,
Hire for fit, train for skill.
yeah.
Like if you get the right person,
Oh, that's
you can
put that
teach
on
anyone.
put that on a t-shirt. That's good.
Yeah, you could teach anyone. I used to
Yeah.
say this in EMS. I can teach anyone how to be an EMT or a paramedic. If they have a bad attitude, though, I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to work
It's
with them.
hard. It's
They're
hard
not-
to do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. And I think, one of the things that we see, and I see it especially behind the scenes
Mm-hmm.
when people maybe don't have their very best, client-facing behavior, is if someone is leading with ego,
Ooh.
it's going to be a mess.
Yep.
And that was one of the first things I learned about Kelsey is she has zero ego.
Mm-hmm.
If you go up to Kelsey and say, I think you screwed that up, she's going to say, okay, what can I do better? She's
Yeah.
not going to get defensive about it. She's not, she's not so invested in having done the correct thing that she's not improving. And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And one of our biggest values is win-win, right? Like we always want our clients to come out on top. We never want our clients to come out on top at the expense of the other party. And we think we're good enough that everyone can come out on top. And sometimes when you're in a transaction with people that do not feel that way,
Yeah.
you can really tell. And this has happened. And I feel like it's happening more and more lately. There's a little bit of a market shift happening right now.
Okay.
Buyers are getting a little bit pickier.
Right.
They're asking for more. They're being way more conservative with their offers. And the people that are going to be successful navigating that kind of market are people that are open to hearing feedback realistically.
Yeah. I think that kind of goes into, I asked, I like this question because it's more of a thought-provoking one, like what makes a good leader a good leader? What are some traits that a good leader has? And I think I feel like that one honestly could be probably one of the number ones,
Yes.
is that if you don't put your ego aside.
Yes.
And that's going to, whether it's for your team, whether it's for your clientele, and honestly, whether it's for you. If you have a high ego, I'm certain it's probably keeping you up at night.
Yes.
Like there's probably a lot of mental battles that you're having, especially if you have a high ego.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you're just thinking, playing out scenarios that either happened and you're like, I should have done this, I could have done that, or whatever the case is. But yeah.
You can tell when people feel like they have something to prove.
Yeah.
And that's the same EMS to real estate. When
Right.
someone, walks on scene and tries to take over, or when an attorney gets completely out of line in an email that no clients are CC'd on,
Yeah.
you can tell when they are there to prove something.
Yeah. What are some traits that you find, or what do you think makes a transaction smooth?
This is like a really shitty, simple answer, but please CC me on emails. Like,
I love
what
it.
is wrong with people? Like, why are you just replying to one when you're
Yeah.
on a thread with 18 people? And then
Yeah.
I automatically, and I'm kind of a, Android tech snob, like,
Oh.
and I'm old. So it's hard to like believe that I got there, but like real estate is 98% digital.
Mhm.
How are you an
Facts.
agent and you don't know how to send an email? like you don't know that when one person replies and there's 9 people, you don't know to reply all.
Yeah. Yeah, it blows my mind too. There's a lot of examples I can,
And that even more than attitude, like I can deal if someone, has like not a great attitude, or if they're leading with something to prove or leading with their ego. I can deal with those people. We've all had to deal with those people in our lives.
Yeah.
If you don't understand the technology, I cannot help you. I
funny.
can't. I'll help our clients. I will
Yeah.
walk our clients step by step through, how to do an electronic signature. I am not telling a 35-year-old
Yeah.
agent how to do that.
No, it's wild.
2024.
I feel like the fact that you even have to consider telling them that is just like, it's like, really? You're sitting there questioning yourself.
Yes.
Am I really going to send this email? Like, I really have to tell
Is
you
this too
this?
snotty? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be mean.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I mean, we live in a digital world.
Yes.
All our products and services are all digital, and it's still,
I
yeah.
think
How are you? It's not even real estate. Like, obviously that's our clientele, but it's like, how are you in business for 40 plus years, for 30 years? And it's like, you're going to tell me you don't know how to do this.
yes. Yeah, that's insane to me.
Yeah, it's
If you guys didn't have the online platform that you have, I would
Yeah.
think less of you.
yeah.
Like
Oh, thanks.
you have a tech facing job basically. There are photographers and videographers that you cannot book through a website. You have to call them
jeez.
or send them a text, and that's insane to me.
I am still baffled by that, and it's so funny because when we started, kind of a little backstory on me. When we started 5 years ago, there was like online booking platforms, and I think it was, I don't know what it was for. It was more for like scheduling calls with people, like
Yeah.
barbershops maybe and stuff like that. But we took a generic one and we're like, let me rewind a little bit more. I started asking agents, how do you currently book, right? In our field of photography and videography. And same answer across the board. I have to text them and call them and go back and forth and try to figure out when I can get on the schedule. And I'm like, so all I have to do is show up on the day that you want me to be here. Okay. Next agent. Same question, same answer.
Yeah.
All I have to do is show up Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Okay, I'll be there. That's all I have to do to get your business. That's it. Okay, next. And then it just keep repeating. I'm like, I was with my business partner. I'm like, there's got to be a platform that we can just give them and say, hey, just book online. Like, don't call me.
Yep.
And we thought at the time, we were just revolutionizing. We were pioneering this whole thing. So we started doing that. And I was baffled by how many photographers and videographers don't do that. Even now, like you said, even now. I'm like, they cost money, but trust me, it's an investment that you want to make for anybody. Why is Amazon so successful?
Yep.
You click on the thing and it says, oh, by the way, do you also want to buy these? Yeah, let me click it. And you swipe and it's done.
I think Amazon knows me better than my husband.
Oh, Amazon and Instagram, yeah.
Like the recommendations.
On point.
Sorry, Jim.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd you know I wanted that, those earmuffs? How did you know that? But that's you want to make it as easy as possible for the consumer to be able to book, for the client to be able to book, to buy, whatever the case is. You want to put as minimal hurdles in the way. If you have to take out your credit card and enter it, Amazon found this. That's one extra step that somebody is going to rethink their purchase.
Yes.
Do I want it?
Am I going to go get my wallet? It's
Yeah,
downstairs.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not just realtors; it's everybody. Like,
Yes.
I'm a consumer as well. If I'm slightly inconvenienced by something, I'm closing the page and I'm
not
all
doing
set.
it.
Yeah,
I don't need
I'm
that.
all set. If I go to buy something and I click the credit card information, if there's no drop down menu, I'm like, I don't need it. That's my sign.
Yep.
If my cards aren't in there, I don't need it.
It's the universe
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Being tech forward makes
Yeah.
all the difference in everything that we do, right? And like our kids,
Yeah.
my kids,
Yep.
their use of technology far surpasses at 16 and 12.
Yeah.
They can do way more than I've ever thought. And my 20-year-old in college is making websites and doing all of this incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And that's their world. And we have to be in their world.
Yeah.
We
You have to adapt to it. It's funny how every generation knows. I remember being a kid, and not necessarily. It's a great topic. I love conversation with kids because I just had one.
Yes,
He's 3
I
months
know.
old. He's an absolute gem. But as I remember being a kid, not necessarily that I thought that I was smarter than my parents. It was just different applications. Like, I'm like, I know my dad is way smarter in everything else, but you give me a phone or an iPad or laptop and stuff like that, that's our world.
They think you're a wizard.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the most basic stuff. But then now you're seeing it. I'm going to see it in 10 years, whatever, is that their world is different than our world. Luckily I'm still, I was born in 91. So like, I still kind of experienced the 90s and the early 2000s. So like, when nothing was there. So I kind of like to pride myself in that, the good old days. But also, in the same time, we were fortunate to go through the technology boom, and see the first iPhone. It came out in 2007.
Yeah.
Oh, I was obsessed with Apple. I still am in a way, but not as much as Steve Jobs was just such a visionary. But anyways, before I ramble on to kids, just kind of backtracking to the kids themselves, talk about a mind shift change. Talk about, I think the biggest thing so far that I'm learning is that before I had kids, I thought I had no time. No, I had all the time.
Yep.
I'm like, man, it's so funny because you don't know until you experience it. And I'm saying this in the most best positive way possible, but like, unfortunately, I can't go back to be like, oh, this is what this is what it's like. Let me go back and redo all those times that I thought I had no time.
Yep.
And it's like, but I think that cultivates and starts building my character. Like, I have to maximize every second of the day, even doing this. Like, I'm so fortunate. I have a rock star of a wife, and she is an absolute G. I can't do anything what I've done without her. But like, we're able to, okay, I don't even want to say time manage. It's just, you're finding every single second. Like, I need to do this. Okay, I have to do this 1 hour task in 20 minutes.
Yep.
And
It's no longer time management when you have
Yeah.
small children. It's now life management.
yes, oh, good.
And it
Yeah.
changes. You
Yeah.
go through phases where, they are actively trying to die, like a 2-year-old in
Well
a
said.
parking lot. Like they have
Yeah.
no sense of safety or self-preservation. And then they start to get older and it becomes a little bit easier. I remember, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, looking at my husband and saying, someday we're not going to have to tell anyone to wash their hands. All of the people around us will just wash their hands on their own and we
Yeah.
won't even have to be part of it.
Yeah.
And now they're both in a phase, the two at home.
Mhm.
Like, we don't see them anymore unless they need a ride somewhere or they require money or like they go into their rooms and they close their doors and
Yeah.
they'll emerge in 2 or 3 years. And
Yeah.
Jim and I are like, we have all this time. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, are we
Phenomenal.
on call? Like, what do we do? But they don't really need much.
Yeah.
It's weird. And
No,
it's a
it is.
major like crisis of like who you are. You go through these phases where you're their only person.
Yeah.
You're their only person. Like there was a time in my life when I was those children's best friend and now they just like tolerate me, like
I gotta,
it's
yeah.
tough.
Yeah. No, and that's one thing that, Erin, she's super good at. She's like, let's just like trying to cherish every moment, and I do my best. Obviously, we're
It's a lot
learning.
of pressure on new parents.
Yeah,
Enjoy
yeah.
this. You haven't slept in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No one has money. Like, the kid is crying for days on end.
Yeah. Yeah. oh,
Enjoy
yeah.
it.
Yeah. No, it's trying to enjoy the good and the bad.
Yes.
It's like he's crying. Look, I'm not gonna tear up, but it's like, no, but I'm there, to comfort you. Like that's our job. But it's like, I got to cherish that because that's,
Someday he's going to go in his room.
Yeah.
And he's not going to come out for like
Yeah.
2 or 3 years and then he's going to leave for college.
yeah. Like, buddy, where you going?
Yeah.
But
Yep.
that's why we're gonna have more. I don't want 4. I always joked about having 6 kids, and it's like, I know, but, and then we had 1, and then I'm like, oh,
Okay, maybe 2.
yeah. It was like, oh, that's 6. Mm-mm. But it's so funny how things change because now at 3 months old, and like he's phenomenal. Like now he sleeps. Last night he woke up at like 4:30, and then he went back to sleep. So I'm like, oh, I got 7 hours of sleep. Oh no, how dare I? So he's good. Now I'm back to like, well, I mean, we already started this. Why not just, you know what I mean? Like we're already in this mess.
Yep.
And I say in the best light possible. Might as well just get through it. Like it's now till he's at least 5, 10, whatever. I don't know the timelines, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, my focus. It's so funny how focus just shifts on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Like initially, and this is like bad to say, one of my buddies. He just had his 4th kid, and you have 3, right?
I have 2 of my
And
own
then-
and 2 step
Yeah, nice. So close, 4.
Yeah.
He just had his 4th, and he would always tell me as like our pregnancy process would go through, he would always tell me, hey man, just enjoy this time and whatever. But he would say it in the most nicest way possible. So we had the kid, and he comes over, just to welcome him. He brought his kids over and whatnot. I'm like, no, I'm kind of pissed off at you. He's like, whoa, what did I do? I'm like, I wish you were so much more harsher with me and told me that the first 2 weeks you're gonna be absolutely miserable and you're gonna regret everything. And it's like, but it's frowned upon. Like, that those are like the unspoken words. You're not supposed to say, oh, you're miserable.
That's why parents
because
are so isolated.
yeah,
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's such a lonely feeling.
yeah.
And I mean, you're off
Yeah.
or like able to be home?
Yeah, she's a full-time, and actually going back to another thing, my whole premise of starting this business, I never wanted my wife to work. My long-term plan was to have a stay-at-home wife, mom to all my kids,
Yeah.
because that's a full-time job.
Yes.
And luckily, I mean, knock on wood, thank God that it is kind of coming to fruition where, the business is doing relatively well, and that I'm working more, but it's more on the growth of the business, and we can get into that a little later, and that she was able to just stop taking clients for indefinitely.
wonderful.
Yeah. So, but it's so funny because I didn't mean to cut you off on that thought, but it's so funny because everybody, and this is with business and with clients and with friends and whatever the case is, everybody has their own vision and wants and desires. And so I was like, I want you to be stay-at-home mom. Like that was my only wish, right? And like it came true in a way. You know, she's home and awesome. She cooks, she cleans, she does everything. And she's like, I come home one day, it was probably a couple weeks ago, and she's like, hey, I think I want to take on clients again. I'm like, what? She's like, I just miss talking to people.
Yeah, being a grown up.
Yeah, it's cool. In theory, I feel like it's cool to be a stay-at-home mom or as a husband say, oh, my wife takes kids care of the kids full time. But you also have to, I don't take their thoughts into consideration. You know, I don't take their everyday life where you're just at home with a kid.
Yeah.
Like day in and day out. And it's, as he gets older, like now she's going to, like we're going to our parents' house and we're going to parks and whatnot because he's, you know, a little more active now. But it's just funny how you don't see that other perspective. You see your perspective and then you don't really take that into consideration. But also, and I'll switch it off to you, I think being able to self-analyze yourself and understand that, oh, I'm seeing this from my perspective. I didn't see it from theirs. I think that's also huge into relationship. I'm not trying to give relationship advice, but just with friendship and relationship and just as a person,
Yeah.
you know?
It makes a big difference to for a mom in the trenches there for someone to recognize you're in the trenches. You're losing who you were. You're a completely different person now. And it's so isolating. And you're not supposed to complain, right? Especially moms. Moms are not supposed to complain. Like, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
You better enjoy every second. Don't you dare complain. And I think it's a little bit better now, but you know, when I had kids, like the older generations who, you know, some of them are not still here, were sort of like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're bored? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to talk to, you talk to us. You don't need other grown-ups. Like, I would like to have hobbies and be a person. And
100%.
the mom guilt is tough.
It's a crazy thing to navigate through, you know?
Yeah.
I think now we're living in a world where we have a lot more resources that we can, even TikTok, it sounds bad, but even TikTok, it's like, it's not all factual, but you can genuinely hear other people's experience.
Yes.
Hey, I've done this. This is what I do. Like, I like it. I'll do a little death scroll here and there every once in a while, but I try not to. But it's cool. Yeah. Talk about social media.
My 12-year-old this afternoon has put together a PowerPoint presentation for me and my husband about why she should have TikTok.
Oh, amazing.
And we've kept her off of it.
Yeah.
But she does YouTube shorts. Like, there's no difference.
It's the same thing.
And she really wants TikTok. And so, you know, Jim and I last night were like, give us a presentation. And so I looked at her slides.
Yeah.
And first of all, it's a fantastic PowerPoint. Like, just really well
for
done.
her.
She's got
Good for her.
you know, images that pop in and she addressed every single concern that I have in those slides.
Oh, amazing.
Every single one of them. Like, that's so incredible. But she really, I think part of it is
she's
looking,
12? Yeah.
she's looking for a community. Right?
Interesting.
Like
I was going to say, what was like the biggest takeaway from that?
She wants to be around other 12-year-olds who are obsessed with that Pesto the penguin, that fat penguin. Like, that's what she wants.
Funny. Yeah.
But yeah, I've got I can't go too long today because I've got a PowerPoint presentation by my 12-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, that's phenomenal.
But yeah, like having that sort of connection to a much bigger world.
Yeah.
It's scary for a parent, but also that's incredible. We didn't have that when I was a kid. I wasn't seeing what people's perspectives were like, you know, from around the globe or even across the country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's natural born sales rep. I like it.
Yeah, Yeah, we had a conversation about sales pitches.
Yeah?
I was like,
that's awesome.
Listen, Dad's the one you're gonna have to win him over. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I remember being not to take the spotlight from her. That's amazing. But I remember me and my sister would grow up. She would want something. She'd ask for it once. My dad says no, naturally, and she moved on. That's what she did. She's like, all right, you know, move. She just had a personality. She just moved on, went to life. I want something. Okay, all right. So I think as I got older, and I don't really remember how I did it, but this is what my mom used to tell me. I would want something. I would lightly tell them. And with knowing the first answer, when you ask, you have to know that it's going to be a no.
Yep.
So I knew it was going to be no. Hey, Dad, I want a cell phone. This was in particular when the cell phones are coming out. No, okay. Like, I already knew that. All right, prepared, expected. So then a little time goes by, and you bring it up again. Hey, so I want a, cell phone, whatever the case is. And then probably going to be no, but it's now planted in their seed that maybe we should get them a phone. You know, the
Oh,
parents
lots
are.
of other kids are
Yeah,
getting phones.
yeah.
It'd be nice to get a hold of them.
Yeah, and then I didn't necessarily create a PowerPoint presentation, but I would have reasons why it would be beneficial for them to get me a phone. Not why it's beneficial for me, why it was beneficial for them.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
Oh, it was so, I was probably right around that age, 12, 13, 14 or something.
I told her the
good
story of
times.
how I remember being her age and really wanting blue nail polish. And my mom was like, no
Yeah.
way. Like, no.
Hard no.
And so we're at like Walmart and I bring her over black nail polish. And I was like, can I have this? Knowing she was going to say no.
Yeah.
And then I brought the blue over and she's like, yeah, that's not so bad. And I was like, that is how you
Nice.
sell to parents.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm saving space on the team for all of my kids.
I was going to say, when I open a sale, man, we're going to need to add people onto there. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, kids are a blessing. I can't wait. I don't want to rush. I think, and then we can get off the kids topic, but it's phenomenal because I don't really talk to adults about kids, you
Yeah.
know. We have a few parent friends, but it's funny in the beginning, and we both kind of addressed it. It was funny because I'm like, why is this not what I kind of thought it was going to be? Like when you have the kid, my timelines were so skewed. This was a phenomenal thing that I kind of discovered about me, that my timeline with having kids was so skewed because I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to play catch with him and I'm going to take him to the baseball game and I'm going to, teach him to, put him to sports, right? That's my timeline.
Yep.
And then he comes here and I'm like, okay.
You can't do anything.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, 1 day goes by, 2 days, 3 days. And I'm like, what the heck? This is not what I thought having a kid was. It's so funny how far ahead I was with having a kid. And it's like, no. There's the baby stage and then there's this stage and then there's this stage. And it's a whole new life. It's now life begins, but in a different metric. So I thought that was funny for me to kind of like analyze and acknowledge.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's why it's not like that.
I think one of the harder parts about that is your parenting has to change
Yeah.
at every one of those stages too. And like, you'll get like well into the next stage and realize you're still parenting a toddler when now you have a kindergartner, and catching up is hard. And they're ready for way more than we're ready for them to
I'm
experience.
sure. They're like sponges, yeah. They're just because we've already experienced a lot of things. They're just starting to.
Yeah.
Quick pivot. Do you think parenting, being a parent, how much correlation do you think that has into being good at what you do?
So the skills that I have from being a parent are replicable because I got the same type of skills in EMS. And it's emergency management, not like emergency, someone's on the floor bleeding. It's how do you handle pressure? What do you do when everything around you is on fire and you're the only person there tasked with putting it out? And that, that happens in parenting all the time. It also happened in my last career. So I don't think it's a prerequisite to being good, but like a person needs to be able to wear a lot of hats in order to be a successful leader. And there's a variety of ways to demonstrate that you can successfully wear a lot of hats.
Sure.
Mine is these damn kids. Right? These kids. And everything that happens at every stage, like, 16, we just got a permit. My heart rate was 220 the other day when my son was driving. Like it's, there's a lot of ways that you can sort of build that muscle.
Yeah.
I think what people don't realize is that you can practice. And just like any skill that we want to be really good at, we have to practice. And so there are ways to practice how to manage a multifaceted disaster area that don't have to include kids, and they don't have to include EMS. Like, let's be honest, I don't want to push people towards EMS because it was terrible. But I mean, just, in a broken healthcare system and, but there are ways to practice. And also, I think just getting older and realizing that some people are prone to call emergency when it's not an emergency. And that was, that was one of the first questions that I asked Kelsey because remember, I was still a paramedic when I started working for her. And I remember being in the office, like in one of the early days and saying to her, okay, just break it down for me. Like, what is an emergency in real estate?
Yeah.
And she was like, what do you mean emergency? And I was like, something that we need to be working on at midnight.
Right.
Because in my past career, I had to leave my phone ringer on all the time.
Right.
I might be called at midnight for a broken down ambulance or, a patient escaped or like something.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? No one better be calling you at midnight. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I started sleeping with my ringer off. It's wonderful.
It's amazing. That's a beautiful segment because that's what I was going to go into next. How do you handle the 24/7 real estate? So real estate is, right, real estate, again, in my eyes, and I might have a limited mindset, limited belief on this, but it's 24/7 based on what we go through. Now, again, marketing agency, in order to build, I think, a business, and then we'll get right back, is you have to go out of your way to do stuff. You have to prove yourself. That's the thing. Once you've proven yourself, you can start scaling back.
Yes.
I mean, you already answered it, but how do you handle, I guess, that balance that real estate is 24/7?
I lean on Kelsey for that because I'm super type A. I run a email inbox zero strategy every single day. Like I'm trying to get down to no new emails every day. If I'm off the clock and an email comes in, and it's 8 o'clock and I'm trying to get everyone to bed and do you need a shower? And okay, practice ran late.
Yeah.
It's my impulse to look at that email and address it in the moment.
Right.
And Kelsey has taught me, nope, family first.
Yeah.
Like we are not at beck and call of almost anyone. I mean, obviously there could be an emergency, right? If we're selling a house and it burns down in the middle of the night, that's a middle of the night phone call. It's never happened.
Right. Knock on wood. Yeah.
Sorry,
Please.
clients.
Yeah.
But Kelsey firmly protects her family time. And I'm watching her protect her family time, and I'm watching her get better at sort of being in the moment with her family, and it's really admirable.
Yeah.
And her feeling is if you have to push your family aside to be successful, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And it's so freeing when your boss says that, right?
Yeah.
Like your boss tells you family is first on our team.
Yeah. That's really cool. Almost like she's almost like a mentor at that point.
Yeah.
And it is a freeing feeling. I think one of the, I'm going to say the slightly struggles. I don't struggle. I don't like use negative words on me. But one of the struggles that I've went through was the learning phase. What I went through is similar to that. It's when we started dating, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'm answering clients, text messages, phone calls, and
you're lucky she stayed, man.
Yeah, I know. But she would kind of like she was cool and. Hey, you really need to answer that at 9? I'm like, yeah, I need to answer this because, the clients are going to leave. But I think once you start growing and being successful, being much more successful, being much more experienced in what you're currently doing, I think that's so important. And it's like, how do you get that message across to everybody? Businesses work 9 to 5 for a reason because it's 9 to 5 and then you close. Now, I'm not saying 9 to 5 fully ignore things. Like things do come in at 7 o'clock if something happens.
Especially if you have employees, right?
Exactly.
There could always be something.
Exactly. Something comes up, I'm always monitoring and whatnot. But yeah, well said. That's awesome.
It's interesting to hear you say that because, obviously we work with a variety of vendors.
Yeah.
My perception of you is that you're too professional for me to text at 7:30 at night with a question.
You could FaceTime me at 7:30.
I don't
Don't
wanna be part of your
FaceTime me at
evenings,
7:30.
okay?
Yeah.
But no, like that is it. I understand the hustle when you're trying to
Yeah.
build something, but once you've built it, like, I have respect for you as a professional. Like
Appreciate that.
Very few things require a 7:30 p.m. text about work.
Yeah. I appreciate
I would like
that.
pictures of your baby whenever you want to send them. That would be fine.
My whole phone has been revolutionized. It was real estate, and now it's baby.
Baby, just baby.
I'm like, it's so crazy. I'll go look through it, and I'm like, oh, was that house that I took? Are you kidding me? How do I have every morning? I'm taking
They're
photos.
all still shots.
They're all
He's
the same.
3 months old.
Yeah, all the same stuff. No, I appreciate that, and obviously that's why I think we work extremely well together, like extremely well, and I respect you guys. You guys respect. I think that's just how. It's hard to relay that message. I think I love bringing value through what we do, through the marketing, through the photos, through the pictures. But I'm always looking for different avenues. How much more value can we bring you? That is one of the core values that I'm trying to figure out how to share. Where it's like, you're going to get all our work, and it's going to be the best stuff you're going to get. But 9 to 5, like there's business hours, and it's more of like just show us the respect
Yeah.
that we get. And I'm not saying all my clients, you guys are phenomenal. Everybody's phenomenal for the most part. But there's times where it's like, okay, I mean,
Those
you know what I mean?
people
But
are leading with ego.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Little circle
Yep.
all the way to
That's
the
what's
back,
happening.
But also I think there is an issue with, again, type A personality or whatever I have, where I'm immediately, let me just reply to this real quick. What's that doing? It's setting the standard for them.
Yes.
They can call and text you at 7:00.
Yep.
So there's this double-sided thing where it's like you have to set a boundary for, and not even just business. I mean, for anything,
Yeah.
we go to bed at like 9:00 now. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm falling asleep on the couch at 8:30. I don't know if it's age or if it's just because, I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock with, but I'm trying to beat the time with him so I can kind of get my stuff done, drink my coffee in peace. And then he wakes up,
Yep.
He didn't cry today, which we actually have a phenomenal morning today, but, really cool to hear. Yeah. And I want to share more of our perspective because we're just behind a screen.
Yeah.
We're just
Yep.
snap a state and you go on the site and
Yep.
email here and there. But it is nice hearing it from your side as well. Because I've always thought, and again, this could have been, and Kelsey said the same thing. I'm like, how do you handle this 24/7 real estate? And her answer, and I'm going to make it a clip. She's like, real estate is not 24/7. I'm like, oh, like I got caught back because I'm like, wow.
Yes.
And then the more you start talking, the more you start realizing it's not. But you have to structure your business because all agents are, businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You have to structure that. I think also that defines if an agent's going to be successful or not, or, that defines your perspective of that agent. And
Burnout is real.
yeah. Oh, yes.
People can't go 100% of the day every single day.
Yeah.
And I also, clients appreciate when you clearly communicate your boundaries. It says in Kelsey's voicemail, maybe until recently, but it said, if it's after 5 p.m. or a Sunday, I'm probably with my family.
Yeah.
We get back to people within 24 hours every single time.
Yeah,
But
right.
if you're texting at Sunday at 11, we're not probably going to hear from us until Monday.
Yeah. No, that's good. And disclaimer, time and place for
Yes.
hustling. There's time and place to grow. There's time and place for that. But as you get to a point where like burnout is real.
Yeah.
Burnout is the last thing you want is to grow something and then resent not only your clients, but resent your business.
Yes.
Once you get to that point, oh man, good luck.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a paramedic anymore.
Yeah, good luck.
It was too much.
Yeah.
And you put so much into it that you are a depleted shell.
Yeah.
And now you're not excited to get a listing appointment.
Yeah.
And the day that our journey is over is the day that Kelsey comes to me and says, I'm not excited. I got a call for a listing appointment. I'm not excited. Like that's, that's when I'll know like, oh, shit, like,
Oh crap.
we're going to move to plan B here.
Yeah. Kelsey, you're fired. We're having the Kelsey.
I'm keeping the name.
Yeah, exactly. You're being replaced. Yeah, that's fascinating. What a good talk.
Just babies.
Do you have anything? Yeah, just babies. Thing is, you don't realize how much you want to talk about babies until you have them.
I know.
And then
I know.
I never not liked when parents would talk to me about babies, but I'm kind of, you can't relate.
No, it's two different conversations before and after.
You just can't relate. Like you see, even hanging out, and it's funny. I just did like an overview analysis. Like we were at my parents, we went to whatever, apple picking, and you see the fun side. Like my mom came out, my sister came out. She has a kid too. I have a niece, and we all come out, and everybody's cool. But then we're driving home. He starts crying, come home. And then that's the side that nobody really sees. So when you talk to somebody without kids, it's really hard because you're like, oh, they just see you in this aspect from this view. They just see, oh, it's easy for you. The baby's cool. The baby's chill, right? Like life is normal. It's like, well, it's normal. It's amazing. It's better. But you don't see this whole other aspect where it's like he got home and he was crying and I did this and I did that. You can only relate if you've gone through it or if you're going through it.
Yep.
So that's
I think
another.
that the car seat roulette.
Yeah.
How long are they going to be happy? That was the scariest game that I ever played. Like,
oh man.
All right, you just woke up. We've got 90 minutes, like the wake window.
Yeah.
I have to go to Walmart. I have to go to dry cleaning. I have to go to CVS. My husband's working. can I do this all in 90 minutes before you get real mad at me?
Yes.
And no,
Yes.
usually I can't. And then you're crying and they're crying in the car the whole way home.
Oh, that is funny. We took one of my buddies sent me a course on like first time parenting and whatnot, you know, and it was a great course. It was a really, really good course. But they talk about that, like these windows, you know, and like we kind of understood it, but it's always nice to just kind of get like a reinforcement. But they talk about that window, and when you start experiencing it, it's like, holy cow, wow.
That's
I'm like,
the most important time
if I
on your
fed,
calendar.
yeah, if I fed him and it's been like 30 minutes, I'm like, oh, we can't, we have to wait another 3 hours before we go out. It's like insane, you know. And I try to explain that to,
countdown.
I'm like, oh no, it's been too long. Like we should have gone as soon as he was done eating. And it's like, because you have that moment in the car seat where he's going to be fidgety, but then he kind of sleeps, and I got the 60 minutes of sleep. Oh, it is so funny how you do that. And then some days you're just like, I'm just going to suck it up. He's going to cry on the way home, and it is what it is because I got to get something done, you know? And then you feel terrible.
Yeah, you're carrying around a little doomsday clock, wondering, you know,
when he's
going to
go off.
Explode.
Yeah. Oh, that is so funny. But no, they're an absolute blessing. I do want more. I want 4, 3, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who it goes. Like I said, it started, so there's no canceling or stopping it. Like we're parents. It's like as long as she can, you know, everything is healthy and we're all good. If you know, we'll just
1 to 2 is not that much of a difference.
Yeah,
you're already
in it.
Yeah, it's
2,
already
2 minimum. I do want 2 minimum, but then you know, as time goes on, and it'd be cool to have like a. I watched my cousins. They had it's just me and my sister. But my cousins, they had. The ones that we grew up with was a family of 5 kids, and it's really cool. Like it was fun. Like you go over and it's just like
always someone
a
to play
bunch.
with.
Yeah, it's just you're all playing. They were all like a year, you know, different. So it was awesome. And I remember growing up in that kind of stage and era. You know, my other cousin had 3, my other uncle, whatever, had 3 kids. So like, but it would be like 3 uncles got together, but there was like 10 of us.
Yeah,
and it was like freaking awesome. I'm like, it's not just one-on-one. It's just you're all playing. We're having football games in the backyard because there's enough people, kids, you know. And I want something like that. You know, I want to. And then so fast forward now, they're all grown up. We're all similar ages, you know, 25 to 35, whatever. And it's like, man, it's just so cool because now they're having families and yeah, it's so important.
Parenthood makes you awfully sappy.
Yeah,
like thinking about, you know, the generations and how nice it must be for the grandparents to see, you know, to have started this.
Right.
It's really, I don't know. I'm such a wimp now. Like I'm like tearing up like every time I see a baby or like my kids, you know, decide to talk to me that day.
Yeah. Decide to talk to me. You're like, oh yes.
Yes, he came out of his room. Act cool.
Yeah, act cool.
Hey, bro. Like they just roll. Like, they're so embarrassed. And I never thought that I was gonna be like an embarrassing parent. Like I think very highly of myself. I'm pretty cool.
Good.
Not to kids. Not to
You just go into this goof mode. You're like, what the heck?
And then you're trying so hard to be, you know, someone that they want to talk to.
Yeah.
And they don't want to talk to you.
Perfect.
This is the natural order of things.
So my lesson is I got to raise my kids in fear.
Yes.
Understood.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I missed the boat.
That's funny. Just kidding. I'll miss them. Good times. Good times.
I actually, I was going to, I don't know. I almost reached out to you like a month or 2 ago. My 16-year-old is really interested. Remember Nottingham when you were adding the Photoshop like furniture, like it was empty and it looked like empty.
Yeah. Yes. In East Long Meadow. Yes, I do.
My 16-year-old is interested in things like that, like Photoshop and like he's got a 3D printer and
that's cool.
He asked me if I could send him some of your pictures that don't have any furniture. And he's like, I want to play around. Like, I want to see if I can like make it look real. And he goes, can you ask that guy for like the dimensions of the room? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
That's funny.
Maybe sometime when you're a little bit older, maybe he'll have an internship and you can learn from him.
Join.
But, that's cool. They're very aware of like personal branding. It's so weird. And that's partly why they think I'm such a dork. Like, they're so concerned with their, like, how they look, even at home. Yeah. Like, the persona that they have. Like, it's hard to
explain.
Yeah,
in a way,
and, like.
Or hard to take.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, please just love me.
Yeah,
Children,
yeah.
like, I love you so much, but you're awfully cool, and
That's-
you have to look cool at every moment of the day.
I get it.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that aspect.
It's,
Well, it's like, every stage is going to be different. That's what
Yes.
everybody tells me.
yeah.
That'd be good.
Just wait until your little shit kicker toddler comes up with like some like one liner, and you're like that. Like, I don't know. It's just funny.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're
Yeah.
funny.
No,
This has gone way
it's
off
good.
the rails.
I know, and I like it. It's fun. Cabinet. Oh, those little toddlers, little babies. Any last words, tips of advice? Whether it's business related, whether it's family related, whether it's whatever. Because you run an absolute killer job behind the scenes, and that's why I wanted to get a sit down and just kind of chat to hear what it takes and all that stuff. So like, yeah.
I feel like I've very much been empowered by Kelsey to run the kind of show that I think we should run. And it just so happened that the show that we want to run, like, it was very aligned
Yeah.
for both of us, top-notch customer service experience, always challenging ourselves. I'm going to podcast today.
I love it.
Like, doing things that we're uncomfortable with because
Yeah.
it forces growth. And so, I don't know, having someone on your team that is not leading with their ego and is just sort of pushing everyone to get better. And then also being aware that we're going to have to take turns, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can push now. My capacity means that I can push now.
Right.
But in 6 months from now, maybe my capacity means I can't push and you have to push. And so finding someone that can fill that gap for you is crucial.
No, that's good.
And if you want
That's
me to
good
help
stuff.
interview directors of ops, I've got a good eye for
Yeah.
interviewing. Yeah.
I'm going to shout out, look, if you want to work for Snap Estate, send in your applications. Angela will interview you. Cool. Angela, this has been absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
This has been a good time. Cool. Guys, thanks.